Hey, guess what? Robert Redford, that super cool movie star who's now 88, just spilled some tea about 7 actors he really didn't like working with. He's usually super chill and classy, but he finally opened up about the big egos, sneaky backstabbers, and fake people who made movie sets tough. Fans are totally shocked by his list, and the names on it are wild. Here's the scoop, line by line, in a way that's easy to get, like we're chatting about playground drama. James Woods. Okay, so Robert Redford and James Woods never acted together in a movie, but behind the scenes, they totally clashed. They were like total opposites in how they think and act in Hollywood. Redford is all about staying calm and being real, but he thought Woods was too wild and loud, always stirring up trouble. They could have made awesome movies together with Woods' crazy energy adding some spice, but Redford wasn't into it. He said Woods brought too much chaos to quiet sets. It wasn't just about their different styles. Redford's a big supporter of things like saving the planet, while Woods was super loud about his opposite views. Things got heated during a casting meeting in the early 1980s. Woods was trying out for a part in a courtroom movie Redford was making. In the middle of reading lines, Woods started arguing with Redford about the Vietnam War. It turned into a big debate and Redford just walked out. Redford later told a friend he wanted to take over the room, not help the team. Woods was super smart and intense, always wanting to be the loudest guy around. Some directors loved that, but Redford thought it was too much. He wanted actors who were calm and thoughtful, not exploding with energy like Woods. There was this one time in the late 1980s when Woods tried out for a legal movie Redford was working on. He started strong, nailing his lines, but then he stopped to argue about a line's meaning, going on about the Cold War. Redford listened for, 2 minutes, then closed his script and left, saying, "If I wanted a debate, I'd go back to school." After that, Redford made sure Woods wasn't cast in his projects, even writing never, ever, next to his name. Woods didn't stay quiet though. He'd make sneaky comments in interviews about Hollywood fakes, and everyone knew he meant Redford. Redford stayed classy and didn't talk back, but his friends knew he thought Woods was too much drama. As Woods became a big name for intense roles, and Redford became a legend for directing and starting the Sundance Festival, they never talked again. To Redford. Woods was like a super talented guy who didn't know how to chill or be humble. Their missed chance to work together shows that in Hollywood, it's not just about being different, it's about getting along. Gene Hackman. Robert Redford and Gene Hackman worked together in a 1969 movie called Downhill Racer, but it wasn't a happy time. From the start, they didn't get along because they worked so differently. Redford was super calm and careful, while Hackman was loud and intense. On set, Hackman would argue with the director, yell at the crew, and act like everything was a big deal. Redford, who was also helping produce the movie, didn't like that vibe. "He's amazing," Redford said later about Hackman's acting, but he didn't care who he upset to get there. Redford liked things peaceful, but Hackman was all about control and arguments. One crew member said, "You never knew what Hackman you'd get. He could be awesome one minute, then lose it over nothing." Things got bad during a scene that needed to be super subtle. Hackman didn't like the lighting, saying it made him look tired, so he hid in his trailer and wouldn't come out. The whole set stopped. The director tried to talk to him, but it didn't work. Finally, Redford went to Hackman's trailer, opened the door, and said, "This isn't just your movie, Gene. It's a team effort. Show up or leave." Hackman came back, but they were never friendly again. They finished the movie but didn't talk off camera. Redford later called Hackman a sledgehammer in a delicate shop, super talented but too rough. When Redford started directing, he made sure Hackman wasn't on his casting lists. Writing, not worth it. Great actor, tough person. It wasn't about being mean, it was about keeping the set calm. Redford believed good movies need trust, not drama. Even though both became huge stars and won Oscars, they never worked together again. When people asked about it, Redford just smiled and said, "Some pairings only need to happen once." There was no big fight or gossip, but their silence said it all. They were two awesome actors who just couldn't work together. Robert Duvall. The Natural is a famous baseball movie, loved for its big, dreamy story, but behind the scenes, Robert Redford and Robert Duvall didn't get along. Both were amazing actors, but they didn't click. Redford, who played Roy Hobbs, treated the movie like a careful song, planning every move and emotion. Duvall, who played a sneaky sports writer named Max Mercy, was the opposite. He was all about going with the flow, making stuff up on the spot, and changing lines. At first, Redford thought Juval's energy was cool, but it started to bug him when Juval's random changes messed up the movie's vibe. Scenes that were supposed to be calm would get thrown off when Juval added a snarky comment or changed the mood. Redford had to keep adjusting his acting to match Juval's surprises. A crew member said they were both awesome, but it felt like they were making different movies. Things got really tense during a big scene where Roy Hobbs faces pressure. Redford and the director had planned every detail, but Juval ignored it, adding sarcasm and extra lines. Redford stopped the scene and said, "It's not your movie." Juval shot back, "It's not anyone's until it's real." They argued for 15 minutes in front of everyone, like a small spark turning into a huge fire. The director calmed them down, and they finished the scene, which looks intense on screen. But it cost them their teamwork. After that, they were barely polite and didn't hang out. Redford later said, "He's great, but I don't want to do that again." Juval didn't say anything, but he didn't need to. The Natural was a hit, but they never worked together again or did interviews together. Redford said it was like Juval wanted to play wild music while he wanted a planned song. The movie's awesome, but their clash shows how two talented people can't always make magic together. Tom Cruise. Lions for Lambs was supposed to be a serious movie about politics, starring and directed by Robert Redford, with Tom Cruise as a big CO-star. It sounded like a perfect team-up, but it was a total mess. Redford wanted the movie to be deep and thoughtful, showing tough truths about the world after 9/11. Cruise, who was also helping produce, cared more about looking good and making the movie a hit. Redford said every idea he had was about how it looked, not how it felt. From the start, they didn't get along. Redford wanted real, emotional acting, but Cruise kept worrying about his appearance, like how he looked in every shot. Cruise brought a big team of helpers to meetings, talking about how the movie would sell, not about the story. Redford, who once spent days perfecting one quiet moment, didn't like that. Cruise kept suggesting changes to make lines snappier or to make his character look cooler, even messing with posters and ads. Redford tried to be patient, but he got annoyed. One day, after Cruise stopped a scene for another tweak, Redford quietly asked, "Are we acting or making a commercial?" Their big problem was they saw the movie differently. Redford wanted it to warn about big issues, while Cruise saw it as a chance to look like a hero. In the editing room, Cruise kept asking for changes to make his character seem stronger, and the studio backed him up, which made Redford super frustrated. He finished the movie but skipped most of the promotion and never worked with Cruise again. The movie didn't do great, and for Redford, it was a reminder that he wanted to tell stories, not sell a product. They didn't fight, but Redford felt there was nothing more to say to Cruise. They just went their separate ways. Dustin Hoffman. All the President's Men is a super famous movie about reporters, starring Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, but making it wasn't all smooth. They looked like a perfect team on screen, but Redford found working with Hoffman really tough. Redford was super careful, always knowing his lines and following the plan. Hoffman loved to make things up as he went, changing his lines or moving around in ways that messed up the scene. Redford thought it was messy, even if others thought it was cool. A crew member said there were no big fights, but you could tell Redford was annoyed every time Hoffman changed things. Hoffman would practice a scene one way, then do something totally different when filming. He'd even move into Redford's spotlight, pulling attention to himself. One scene got really tricky when Hoffman, playing a reporter, kept changing his lines and energy in a phone call scene. Redford got frustrated because he had to keep reacting to new stuff. A crew member said Redford's tight jaw showed how mad he was, even if he didn't yell. The director, Alan Pakula, kept things calm, like a teacher handling two kids who don't get along. Redford told the director, "We're trying to tell a story, not chase random ideas." He believed movies needed a clear plan, not Hoffman's wild changes. The movie turned out awesome, but Redford didn't want to work with Hoffman again. He stayed polite, saying once was enough. When asked about it, they never did reunion events or interviews together. Hoffman was like a solo singer, while Redford wanted everyone to play together like a band. The movie's a classic, but their teamwork ended when the cameras stopped. Paul Newman. This one's a shocker. Paul Newman, the guy everyone thought was Redford's best buddy. They starred in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting, looking like the coolest duo ever, but Redford said their friendship wasn't as tight as fans thought. There was charm, he said, but also distance. Paul kept some things private and sometimes acted clueless to get his way. There wasn't a big fight, but their bond faded slowly. During the sting, things got tricky. Newman had more power and started acting like a boss, suggesting changes to the script and camera stuff. Redford, who liked working as a team, felt pushed aside. A crew member said it felt like a game of who's in charge, not two friends making a movie. Redford loved Newman's charm but felt like he could never really connect with him. The media didn't help, always putting Newman's name first in headlines and interviews, making Redford feel like the sidekick. They stayed polite, but their friendship cooled off. It was like a friendly wave at a school event, not late-night chats. People kept pitching new movies for them, but nothing happened. Redford said it was about timing, but his friends knew it was about trust. Redford still respected Newman and loved their movies, but the close bond everyone imagined wasn't there. It wasn't a fight, it was like two friends slowly drifting apart. They're legends together in history, but in real life, they quietly went their own ways. Faye Dunaway. 3 Days of the Condor is a cool spy movie with Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway, but behind the scenes, they didn't get along. Both were huge stars in 1974, Redford with his calm, golden vibe and Dunaway with her intense, powerful acting. They should have been awesome together, but it didn't work out. A crew member said it felt cold between them. They barely talked unless they had to, and their on-screen spark came from tension, not friendship. Dunaway was super detailed, always checking every little thing, like lines and lighting, which slowed things down. Redford, who liked things smooth and simple, got annoyed. A crew member said Dunaway didn't trust anyone, not even Redford. He called her a storm in heels. Because she was amazing but caused chaos, Dunaway would ask for tons of takes to get one word perfect, while Redford wanted to keep it natural. Once, after a bunch of resets, he muttered, "We're not building a watch here." Things got bad during a meeting with the director, Sidney Pollack. Dunaway questioned a scene's logic, and Redford snapped, "It's a spy movie, failure, not chess." Dunaway got mad, walked out, and came back the next day like nothing happened, but the set stayed tense. Their romantic scenes looked good but felt planned, not real. Redford even used a body double for some shots after Dunaway left, which was rare for him. He later called her unforgettable with a smile, but it was clear he meant it in a tricky way. They never worked together again or did fun interviews about the movie. The film's awesome, but their teamwork was all friction, turned into movie magic. What do you think about the 7 actors Robert Redford didn't like working with? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up, share it, and hit subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye!